Hello, my name is Erin and this is the Joy in Pens and Paper, and in today's video I will be doing a swatch of all of my red or reddish ink samples. I am building a new ink swatch book and hoping to be able to separate my bottles from my samples and have a system in place that I can catalog my inks now and moving forward. So what I'm going to do is I will do a little speed up, a little voiceover, and I'm just going to work through these samples and I'll do a quick chat at the end. I don't believe any of these samples have shimmer in them, so I just lined up my samples in this little caddy, no particular order, and I'm just going to swatch them. So see you at the end. So this first sample is Waringal Metamorphosis, and it's a really, really lovely dark burgundy brownish red. I'm not sure that I'm loving doing a voiceover for this, so I'm going to try my next color family, talking through it and not doing a voiceover. Then after that is a sample that I actually received from Zen of the Pen, and it's a little on the pink side. I went back and forth as to whether or not this was the right fit for this swatch page. It probably will also be on my pink swatch page, but it does have, as the name states, a red shift. So this is Colorverse Red Shift. And that will be followed by another ink sample that was passed along from Zen of the Pen. This is Waringal Hook. And this is a pretty classic, standard, middle red. It's just, in my opinion, the right amount of brightness, the right amount of deep, and it's, yeah, pretty standard. The next sample that I have is one from a pen meetup with Fountain Pen Insanity. This is Diamine Oxblood, and I am so surprised that I am this many years into my fountain pen journey and a few years into my YouTube channel, and this is the first time that I am swatching this ink. So thank you so much for sharing this ink with me. It's a really lovely color. This next one is also a sample that was gifted from a viewer. This is Birmingham Pen Company Rhubarb. And this is kind of a orangey red, I think is how I would describe it. Maybe, a little corally, a little rosy, but it's a less saturated kind of medium red. Now this next one, this is a bright one. I got this, I believe, in a fountain pen ink flight from Ink Journal, and it's Laban Aries. It is a really well-behaved ink. I inked it up in a Pilot E95S once, and it just wrote so beautifully. This next one is another sample from Ink Journal, and this is Van Diemen's Mandarin Duck Wing. This is from their Birds of a Feather series. And this is similar to Waringal Metamorphosis and Diamine Oxblood, which I thought it was interesting that I put these three in a column. It certainly was not intentional, but it just really worked well. It put them close enough to be able to compare them. Up next is another sample that I received from a viewer. It's Monteverde Pumpkin Cake, similar to Birmingham Pen Company Rhubarb right above it. It also has a little bit of an orange lean. In fact, these two colors are very similar. I would say the Monteverde Pumpkin Cake is a little darker and a little more red leaning than Birmingham Pen Company Rhubarb. And again, interestingly, this next ink that I'm going to swatch on the far right column is Wearing Gold Dracula. This is from another viewer in a ink swap. It's very bright. I would also place it between Le Bon Aries and Wearing Gold Hook in terms of where it lands. And for a red, especially with the name Dracula, to me it leans a little pink, like a bright pink. And coming up next is Monteverde Copper Noir. And I think copper is a really good name for this. Noir, with that, for me, that means dark or night. And I could be very wrong on that meaning, but it's a really nice, deep, reddish orange. You may have just heard my husband in the background a moment ago exclaim cat. One of the cats must have done something naughty, so he's managing that. And then next up is another sample from Zen of the Pen. A lot of my fountain pen friends enable me with all of these more jewel toned colors that I likely wouldn't purchase on my own, and I'm so thankful for it. And this is Colorverse Intense Magnetic Field. And this is such a deep, dark red. I wish in hindsight I had swatched this on the far left, but I didn't really plan this out. I grabbed bottles in the order that they were on the tray. So it would have been nice to have this in the left and Monteverde in the middle. It just would have gone really well. And then last is also an ink from an ink flight. I think it might have even been my first ink flight. It's Andoryllium Vampire Squid Red. And as this dries, it gets brighter and more pink, which is really fascinating. But it is definitely a bright, bright, bright color and was a really nice fit for this column. All right, so here are my red or red adjacent samples. I was interested when I was putting down Monteverde Copper Noir. I don't know if you saw, it was kind of stringy. It was a little thicker, but it went down okay, and it went down lighter and dried a bit darker, so it is having that little bit of red lean, similar to Monteverde Pumpkin Cake. And then you've got the brightness of Andoryllium Vampire Squid next to the intense darkness of Colorverse Intense Magnetic Field. I did shorten magnetic, and then I am seeing quite a bit of obvious feathering for Colorverse Intense Magnetic Field, a little bit for Monteverde Pumpkin Cake, a little bit on Diamine Oxblood, a little bit on Wearing Gold Dracula, and then turn it over, and here is our bleed through. So this will go in my ink book. So here's my red bottles, and I will put in my red samples and give that a moment to dry because there's still a little bit of wetness. So with that, I will say goodbye. I hope you have a wonderfully productive day and week, and I will see you in the next one. If you'd like to accompany me on this journey of swatching all my bottles and samples, feel free to subscribe so that you can get a little alert anytime I upload a video. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye.